Hey, Jess. How are you doing today? So, Sean, you're just gonna pop up with some weird ass. Okay. Well, Mars is in Taurus now. I told you guys. It's flipped over. Mars is conjunct Uranus right now. I mean, for me, the whole time that Mars is in Taurus, I'm going to have Taurus stellium energy since I have Venus and Mercury in there with the transiting Uranus. So I'm going to have a lot of Taurus energy going on. See, I haven't been watching the news. Mainly because I have not had the time. I have basically, when I'm taking breaks, I'm not actually taking breaks. I'm working on other things that are just not as draining. Yeah, the energy is definitely thick. And like I said, we're moving out of that Aries energy into slower moving Earth energy with the Mars. Oh, your Taurus Moon. Oh, no, I don't, oh, no, I did not get an alert about that. Yeah, I definitely didn't know about that. What's interesting is I'm not actually like trying to stay away from things. It's more like there's so much other stuff going on that it's not like I have the energy to take anything else in when I am just sitting. It's like I watch really stupid little YouTube videos and that's it. And then go to sleep. But what's interesting is seeing it both on the large scale and then seeing it impersonal as well. Because I was definitely feeling that tension yesterday, like very heavy. And I really stayed to myself. I know I was live all day, but I consider being live a lot different than dealing with interpersonal things when that energy is so heavy. So physically, I was mostly to myself the entire day yesterday, even though I was doing readings. But yes, we are going to be going over something interesting today. If you guys want to, I can pull up the transits for today too. Actually, I can just probably stick it on my chart so we can look at today's transits as well. So, see, like I was telling you guys, it's like, it's like sitting on there. Oh my gosh, it is like hanging on by a little bitty, like, tooth and nothing. Like, definitely that last bit of Aries, like I was telling you guys, it's literally at like 29:59. Like, it's like mere seconds from just being Taurus, like, at this very moment. So obviously that last bit of rage I was telling you guys about with this Aries energy is definitely yeah. They're getting off that last pop of it yesterday and today, and then the energy is going to be drastically shifting. Yes, and we can look over here at this lovely energy I got going on with my chart. But oh yeah, it caught me off guard when you said it too. Yeah. Oof. I'm telling you guys, it's at that very last little moment of being in that Aries energy. Some crazy shit's gonna pop off before it moves into Taurus. Especially because once it's in Taurus, it's gonna be like immediately conjunct in Taurus. The Uranus energy, which is still retrograde until the 14th. So that's gonna be a pretty good mixing of energies going on up there. Ooh. But yeah, they're really trying to pull that last bit of energy out of there. And all these lines are my natal lines. These don't have any transit lines in here. Trying to see if there's anything here. Oh, one thing I do want to say though is that when Mars moves into Taurus, it's going to be foaming. It's going to be foaming at the mouth. It's gonna be forming and inconjunct to Saturn and Aquarius. So that's going to be some very interesting energy to see. Squaring, not inconjunct. But it's also going to have that. What I meant by inconjunct was Venus, but the Saturn Aquarius is going to be squaring. So that's going to be some very interesting energy to see here. And that's like within the next couple days. It's like we're definitely going to be seeing that energy like all over everything for the rest of the week, basically. Hi, Gloria. Hi, Ruby. But yeah, so we just gotta kind of ride, especially with the moon still being in Libra while this is happening. I can see why people are, it's pretty much like this justice crusade with a bunch of anger mixed into it. So, yeah, I can definitely see how this justice is coming out with that last lingering energy of that Aries Mars. Everything needs to be evened out, justice needs to be served kind of energy. Because they're like opposing each other right now as Mars is barely hanging on to Aries. So it's like giving it that last little push of energy with that moon. Like subconscious, like these levels of subconscious energy just coming out, like serve justice, and people are going about their own ways of doing that. That can be a little not that I guess you could say graceful. Hell on wheels. Oh my goodness. Oh, trying not to fall out of my thing here today. Yeah, it, like, my thing went kind of crazy last night too. I mean, I'm over here like, I have this doing weird shit with my 11th house, so it doesn't surprise me that stuff's happening with the internet for me. But a lot of other random stuff is happening with the internet for me as well. But today, it just is. Yeah, I mean, even like Venus was trining that energy, so definitely some relationships could have gotten thrown in there as well with pretty much like you like almost like open your mind or not be so thick-headed. Could have easily been things people were saying like, or you don't understand like how I feel, and like, you know, just a lot of those kind of energies, like pretty much like trying to get people like get on my level with how I'm thinking about things and being kind of pushy about it. Definitely could have been a theme if it was something relationship wise, but this is also trying to create beauty by serving justice as well. So that definitely is a nice theme to be having with all this stuff. It's like we will make things beautiful by creating havoc because we need to have people understand where we're coming from. Could also be happening in spiritual communities as well. But yeah, that's, I mean, if more stuff about the transits keeps popping up, I'll talk about them. But today we're going to learn about YOD energy, because I know it's one of those things that aren't really talked about. Or if it is talked about, it's like extremely confusing. So instead of using a bunch of technical things like people talk about, like the mathematics and the degrees and all this stuff, I want to talk more about the energy of it. So that way that's more understood, because you can sit here and look up on the internet like the degrees, like what makes an inconjunct and all that stuff. But there's a lot of varying opinions on what a YOD does. I really feel like, one, if you have a YOD in your chart, you're going to be feeling that energy. You're going to pretty much be feeling it your entire life. Because it's an energy you're pulled to. If you don't have one and you're around someone that has one, more than likely, especially depending on the planets that they have that are in the YOD itself, you're going to be seeing themes play out in their life that keep going around a certain thing and pulling them in that direction, even if it doesn't make sense. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, my YOD points Uranus. Tons of unexpected shit is just my life, and it's in my house of routine, so routinely unexpected shit happens no matter what. Like, it's just part of my routine. So obviously anyone knowing me personally is gonna be like, or if you learn about me and you get to know about like my past and different things that have happened to me, it's like there's no straight line anywhere with any of the stuff to make sense at all, or to be crammed in such a small amount of time. And the only way that happened was literally, it was routine. It was day to day, something was happening. So it's pretty much like a lifetime of stuff being crammed into a short, it's like a lifetime being crammed into like less than 30 years and still going. Things are still being added. But plus being like born with certain things and trying to work through certain things that were my own personal stuff that came here with me, because my south nodes connected as part of my YOD. So I literally brought stuff with me that I was already doing. And it also connects to my sun, which is where I'm learning to follow my heart in this lifetime, where I'm trying to learn to shed any past ego wounds, which could literally be very deep past because it's my south node. But it's like learning to shed those wounds and bring a lot of light to those, and also start enjoying life. And this is like my first house and my 11th house. So it's like literally what I show the world is like literally what I came from, because like that's what I know. I'm showing the world that, and I am learning to be okay with it. I'm learning to not be so scared of standing alone while doing it as well, because it's in Leo, even though it's in my first house ruled by Cancer. So it won't it's like, in a way, it's like not like showstoppy, but it's like I want to show my care to people, and I need to learn to be okay with that being on my person. And it's also in the internet house with just laying my heart out for people. Friendships, communities, everything that I try to attach myself to, it's like I just want to bear all. Even though it's hard for me to communicate it sometimes, and it might take me a little bit, that's kind of what the energy is there. Plus, like I said, the random shit that happens to me. But having that play out, it's almost like coming from the energy, and then it's like you ping pong back and forth. It's pretty much how a yod works, because it's going to be this green triangle if you have one in your chart. If not, if you have inconjuncts, the energy kind of works similar. It's just not going to be like this like complete like energy that's pulling you throughout your life. You might have bouts of it here and there. But this energy right here with an inconjunct is like you're being simultaneously pushed and pulled, like a rubber band that keeps snapping back and forth but never breaking. And it's like it's coming together and going apart constantly. So it's like you're really pulled to do this, but at the same time you're repulsed by it because something just doesn't like feel right with this energy. It's almost like not having a choice in a way, and that's why you kind of balk at it, because it's like I should have some freedom. But it's like that kind of energy. So if you have one, depending on what you have it between, that's going to show you where you're having this kind of relationship in your chart. So with me having it with South Node to Uranus, so yeah, you have Gemini energy in a yod as well, because the energies, but it also depends on where they connect to, are going to actually have a big play in it. Because even though it's South Node and Uranus in mine, what I have down here is like if we're just looking at South Node energy and Uranus energy, South Node is very like karmic, bringing past skills, if you believe in past lives, that kind of energy, what we have learned over a very long time, something we cultivated and comes naturally to us. And with this being South Node energy in my first house, it was like on me, like from birth, that I had this kind of energy. Like I just kind of came here with some energy, which obviously wasn't used with the best intentions, because like I said, this is like a repulse pull thing. Things happened that made me want to shut it off. And that had a lot to do with what I went through getting from that first house energy over to the sixth house. Because if you look at this, it's containing all this family energy and what I grew up in, which was very harsh. It's like going in between those energies. I pretty much grew up having these things that really pulled me towards this, and things that like literally repulsed me and made me scared and didn't want me to go near it. And with it being with Uranus, Uranus is the energy of the higher mind. It is known for being connected to astrology, all of these occult energies. And since that inconjunct was between past life energy that already like came with me and already being pulled to do these things, like in knowing things and not understanding why, it would become scary, because this is in my routine house. It was like every freaking day. Like it didn't stop. In some way or another, something like this was happening. And it was like constantly pulling out of me more things. So whether that was me learning, because I did theater, I did a whole lot of things that I was pulled to do, even though it scared the crap out of me. And performance arts, obviously with Leo, was possibly something that I did. And it was something that I wanted to do, I was pulled to, but it wasn't necessarily what I'm supposed to do this time, because if you look, it's coming from there. It's not staying there. It's like using that and putting it into this energy that needs to happen. So yeah. I'm saying yeah to Gloria because it really does have a very karmic feel. If you have something with Capricorn, it's like Saturn energy. That's very karmic energy as well, even though it tends to be more restricted and not, it's like more this lifetime kind of karmic energy in a way. It can contain some past, but the South Node is more spiritual in that sense. It's a very spiritual energy. Um, Having Saturn can be more of constructs and authority, and having a lot of energy where you're having to go through the karma that comes with that and learning through that in this lifetime and using that energy. Um, and since you have 11th house energy, like I'll get to 11th house energy once I'm done with this one. But since this pole's happening between the 1st and the 6th, it's almost like when people have those personal planets in the 1st house and it just shows everybody who you are. It's like you can't hide who you are. And with this being routine, this actually creates a weird energy where people could see who I was, but I didn't understand how transparent I was. And that's why so many weird things would happen. And it didn't make sense to me how I could get taken advantage of the way I do. When I look back at it now, it makes sense. But I was in a very strange, almost like alternate reality feel, kind of like what you get from science fiction with like that kind of Aquarius energy. Like not quite fantasy like Pisces energy, but a lot more scientific, like weird. It's like even health stuff. I mean, it's in my health house, like a lot of weird scientific things that have happened with my health. It's just like really strange things that occur when you're going back and forth with the energy. Um, Now, if you're trying to look between energies of the other inconjunct, um, this right here is showing energy going between the 11th and the 6th house, which means you're trying to bring this energy of community, energy of friendships, of wish fulfillment, all these different things. You're trying to, it's like being pulled to routine. Like literally all the 11th house energy is being pulled into the routine house. Like this is what you need to do routinely. And for some people, it is being on the internet. Like you need to do this as a routine. The thing is, the way these will be built will make no sense because Uranus just loves doing things randomly, and sometimes it doesn't seem like it's necessarily beneficial. Like it might seem like a what the fuck because Jupiter is more like, hey, I'll give you some stuff, like a benevolent thing. Even if they're lessons, it's like you kind of see where it's going. With Uranus, it's just like what the hell sometimes with what you get. And having that kind of energy in your routine house is literally like things will happen that is what the hell. It just happens. And somehow it is put out in these communities that possibly you might want to put it out there, or maybe it got pulled out and you didn't want it to. And like I said, this could be happening, friendships, communities you're working on building. It could even be communities with coworkers because sixth house energy does hold coworkers. So it can even be those kind of really tight-knit working families where this energy is being pulled to as well. But then things happen, things break them, and it's like something has to start again. It's like it's always trying to pull you towards something that you don't really understand because none of the things are really making enough sense for you to understand why each thing happens until like years down the road. And you look back and you're like, Yeah, every single little thing needed to happen like it did for me to be exactly at this spot. And I'm not even there yet. Like I said, this is something you keep getting pulled at, and it's very strange, all the stuff you go to. Now, for those of you that I have, do you want me to pull up your YODS so we can look at it and kind of break it apart? Let's see. I don't think I have yours, Jess. Just, let me see. If I already have you in my system, I can pull you up. If not, I just need your birth stuff so I can put it in. Then I can put that in on another screen. And then just be able to head into the chart. Oh wait, how are you guys seeing the screen? Is it messed up? Because I'm trying to look at the thing. Have you guys even been able to see what I'm talking about? I'm gonna be upset if the first part of this thing is messed up. Or is that just me going back and forth? Yeah, it's just me going back and forth. Don't mind me. It's because I'm clicking back and forth on stuff and it made it look all wonky. Okay, so let me put Jess in first. If I can click on the correct page now. It does it at least once a week. Okay, so... Oh, pfft. Just an 88. Where no. Butthead. Okay. So let's look and see what you got going on, Jess. Okay. And the reason you can see more lines is I have aspects turned on between the nodes as well as Chiron and stuff. So this might not be what you usually see, but it's actually how my mind works when I'm looking at stuff. so you guys can actually see what's going on in my head. But so you don't have a yod, Jess, but the music makes you doze off. I just try to make it very calm for you guys. Have some peace for whatever time in your day you can have. But you do have quite a few inconjuncts, and you do have it with very interesting energy, which can play out. Oh, look, the transits are still up here for you too. So we're just going to be able to see what's going on with everybody today. So the green dots, what those are is they're inconjuncts by themselves, like how you have this. But when we were looking at my chart, you noticed that what I had was to form an arrow. So you might have had one at over here, like at early Sagittarius if you had something, but it needs to have it to where it actually like makes like an isosceles triangle, basically, because a sextile happens between I can't think. A sextile happens at the base of the triangle. Like one of these needs to happen at the base, so it needs to be able to like cross under and be skinnier and have a sextile. So with you having two inconjuncts, and the thing is, inconjuncts happen at very tight degrees. Like, they need to happen within 2 degrees or less to be considered inconjunct each other. And they're going to happen in the energy. One way to remember it easy is if you look at an opposition, like how something between Virgo and Pisces would be in opposition. Go to the sign before it. Like here we have Leo right before Virgo, and like do the same Pisces thing. And if you have something in the degree that's like within like the 2 degree, that's how you can usually tell very easily if you have an inconjunct. But like I said, you will see a very specific point, like an arrow straight to one thing if you have the Yod energy. I didn't know if I said it before either, but Yod has multiple names like Finger of God, Destiny Point, like all kinds of different things just because of that energy. But the way this works for you, especially since you have both of your inconjunct energies going into your 10th house, just that itself, just looking at that energy going, from 2 different sign energies into this house, it's like it's swapping sign energies, which is very interesting. And the reason I'm saying that is you have a fire water, then the other fire water going to each other, like throwing those energies both. It's like all those energies are in your 10th house plus these other houses. But just knowing you have this going on is showing me that you have a huge, like when it comes to trying to make what kind of mark you want to leave or what you want to do career-wise, what if you want to leave something behind for your family or even a name for yourself, like what you want to get out of your life. It's like this energy of like you're very pulled towards it, but at the same time some things start scaring you off. One of those things that start scaring you off is when you're really getting pulled, like because you have Aries Mars energy in this inconjunct. It's like your drive becomes so impulsive to like the way you create, it becomes very impulsive. And what happens is you end up doing these deep dives that scare the shit out of you every time you start getting into that area of work where you're really pushing yourself. Things come up that you need to work through. And it's the way your creativity flows better. But at the same time, ping-ponging back and forth between, okay, I want to pull away from that part of me a little bit, actually draws back away from the energy of you being super productive in work. So it's like, it's not in opposition, so it's not finding a balance. It's like a yo-yo that happens. So knowing where certain transits are happening around this, you could actually use it to your benefit. Right now, this inconjunct is mainly using it for healing for you, honestly, because your Chiron is conjunct your natal, transiting Chiron's conjunct your natal Mars, and it has been for quite a while. It's been riding your Mars like it's been riding my midheaven. So this energy is really being brought to your attention, and a lot of your own personal energy is going into this. It can be very draining, especially since it's activating one of the inconjuncts. It's almost like you can't get away from this energy, and it has been carrying through 2020, and it's carrying on into this year. It's going to be carrying on for a bit. So you going through this kind of energy definitely is going to be doing that, but you're going to have a lot of random bursts of inspiration and creativity every time you do heal a portion of like this inner child energy, because fifth house is inner child, romance, anything dealing with relationship energy. Not quite to the level of that Libra seventh house energy, but definitely in the frame of just romance in your life. And it's also sexual energy, not quite the same as Scorpio's, where it can be like a very deep, heavy, but your Pluto is Scorpio in the fifth house, so it actually carries that kind of energy. It can be very sexual energy, and it's the point of quite a few grand water trines that you have, including some planets over here, as well as your midheaven. So your 10th house has a lot of attention. You have things that are trying to help you and make it easier for you, but everything's connecting to this point where it's like you have to go back down and keep doing this healing work that is very deep, different wounds like that, in order to pull out what you need to put into the work environment. It's like every time you do that, there's more inspiration, even though it's like really draining. And with the other inconjuncts that you have, you actually have two inconjuncts pointing to your north node, and your north node is sitting in your career house. So once again, this north node energy is the energy that we are trying to strive for. We won't necessarily reach it every lifetime if you feel that way. Some of it's just a bunch of learning lessons by trying to understand that energy. One thing to understand about North Node energy, though, is it can go a little bit beyond the level of obsessive, like past Scorpio 8th house energy. It becomes very invasive if you get too drawn towards the energy. Now, this is going to be very interesting in your case, because your midheaven and your North Node is Pisces. And it's not conjunct, but it's almost there. It's almost there. So it still has a pretty like pumped up energy connected to it. So there's this feeling of you need to do something this lifetime with your career. And it's a very subconscious feeling, especially with it being Pisces energy. Maybe even having dreams since very young since you actually have the inconjunct going back and forth between not only your sun, but also your Mercury, which is in Leo, which connects all the way back to your fifth house. Remember, Leo rules fifth house. So it's tying everything back to the fifth house with healing the childhood wounds that were started in childhood. Like it's saying over here, like shit started in childhood. Trying to communicate possibly could have been stifled. Because communication for Leo tends to be a lot more flamboyant, and it could have been frowned upon, especially since you have this square happening between all this healing you're supposed to be doing to be able to create. And it's almost like it was frowned upon for you to be really expressive, especially if it was something very creative, out of the box, because it's conjunct your sun. It's something that would really come from like a happy kid just really expressing the energy you're being pulled to do your entire life. So more than likely you could have been doing things that were out of the box, maybe out of the norm when it comes to your emotions, your subconscious. What you were driven to do caused a lot of friction because it wasn't what they were trying to put you on the path to do. It's just a whole lot of like you being pulled to really like take yourself out of the energy, but it's trying to push you into very dreamy energy, because having these grand water trines that all include your midheaven is pretty much trying to wrap this healing energy around this pain that happened. So it's like you have something to climb, like you have a rope being dropped down to be able to bring this out, but it's also trying to help you make this successful is a huge thing. Because to have this energy pointing at your midheaven mixed with this north node midheaven energy, it's like we want to help you succeed at this thing specifically. And even though you had a lot of harsh things blocking it off while younger, possibly even from a mother figure, probably really, it wouldn't surprise me if she was really strict over the internet. Like, I know you're a little bit before me, so you possibly could have been more into the internet than I was. I'm pretty sure a lot of people was. I was in the freaking dark ages. Even though my Uranus was in the routine house, I did not have internet or a cell phone until I was 19. So I was actually very behind on everything. I didn't even have an email. Even though schools were starting to take it in when I was in high school, it was like, even in my home environment, once I was in college, it was like I didn't have any in my home environment until then. But obviously, Capricorn is the sign it's in, and that's restrictive energy. So it's going to be pulling some things down and making it take longer. But this is what I mean, is you have this energy that's trying to pull it down and make it take longer. It's trying to slow it down, and that's what Taurus energy does. And having that in mother energy, it actually, this is kind of out, but 11th house can also represent grandparents and step-parents as well. So it could have been that you got more nurturing from a different mothering figure other than your mother, like you felt more comfortable with them, especially trying to express family things. Because having this trine happening here in your fourth house with this moon, even though you had a lot of trouble expressing yourself between siblings and a very overbearing mother figure, there was someone in the family that was a lot more nurturing to you, that actually gave you the comfort that she didn't give. Because with it being in the 11th house, it's almost like getting that nurturing from somewhere else. But it still wasn't, like, say, as nurturing as water energy would have been. It would have been like providing material comfort or like pleasing the senses kind of comfort. It can be that security as well. But that is more what it's providing. But this is like a lot of energy hitting each part of your inconjuncts right here. But what's interesting is you have this energy trining. Like I'm saying, you have a bunch of stuff hitting every point of your inconjunct. You have trining energy between this trouble you had expressing yourself and how it made you really repress a lot of things that you're having to work through now in order to make it like any progress in your career. But it's like you have a trine between once you get this in your drive, it's like being able to express yourself is just going to be like this breeze, because this is still sitting in your 10th, even though it's like humping your 11th house, but it's still sitting in your 10th, and it's like pulling on this third house energy of communication over here, making your little communities with Gemini energy and saying, hey, I can be showy in how I want to talk. I can have fun. I can have humor and throw it out here with this. I can be impulsive with my way I want to express myself. Who freaking cares? It's like learning how to do that and pulling that energy out is what's really going to help you. I'm late, Professor Mermaid. Oh my gosh, Owen, you're so cute. But I like how you say that, and my thing for that comes up. But that's really going to help you once you, and I think that's why sometimes you might back off, like you might feel you're too much, because you working on this and how it connects so much to your career is when you start pulling out this deep shit, you get very expressive about the deep shit. And it's like you are like being pulled to do it, but sometimes the way you throw it out, like you start doubting yourself very heavily, because it's like that might have been too much. I probably should have like worded that better. I was it's like going back and doubting yourself and pulling yourself back in. You have to learn to trust this energy, because it's actually a very intuitive energy. So when you're pulled to do these things, the more you trust it, the easier the flow will be. And there's a lot of energy here about just letting go. I have the same thing with having a Jupiter 12th house placement. The more you just surrender to the shit, the easier the blessings come. It is a very strange place for Jupiter, in my opinion. You also have it at a 2 degree, which is very intuitive. It is moon energy. And that's just literally telling you the more you go with your intuition and trust this shit, the easier it is, even though it feels very challenging to you, because having this square between your midheaven and this Jupiter, it's like, how am I supposed to get anything without pushing myself? You have a very feminine energy chart, which is literally understanding and expressing yourself. I said adorable, not Adele. Oh. I know, Roubaix over there. Um, but I definitely see a lot of the insecurities coming from that 11th house mother energy. And it's like it's deep rooted, but by using it, because you have your natural talents and gifts that come by, they just kind of float by. But you have your natural gifts down there, and it's Virgo energy. Virgo energy isn't just mundane. It isn't just organizing, even though, yes, that can really make you feel like you need to organize the hell out of things. And it's natural for you to be self-critical and try to find the right way to do things. But this was also something that was taught to you by this figure as well. It wasn't completely yours. So this could have been some of that energy that not only is past, but this could have been early childhood energy, just because it's connected to that figure and it has that effect. But this Virgo is also healing energy. It is the energy that Chiron has. It's that wounded healer energy where you go about being of, that's why it's like the house of service. It's like being of service to other people. And that's why I warn against the neglect with that energy, and you coming from feeling the need to give of yourself from that energy. It'd be very easy to neglect yourself, especially when it comes to family. But your chart is very interesting, Jess. And this is without me looking at pretty much anything going on in transits. This is like just what your chart does. And that's what I mean by having these energies in your chart. It's like, it's going to carry so much stuff throughout. Like, there's still tons in your chart. But I kind of want to give everybody a fair shake because I'm just looking here like there's so much you can talk about in your chart. But yeah, I want to give someone else a chance because I think I spent like at least 30 minutes on your chart because you had a lot going on over here. But let's go ahead. I know Gloria wanted to go, but I need her info so I can do that. You're welcome, hun. Where are you, No Glow? And I'll definitely look at Owen's because he actually has a YOD in his chart and a separate inconjunct. So you'll be able to see both of those energies. Who let me post this? Where did he post something? I want to know so I can see it. Yeah, Jess, there's so much stuff hidden in just even our natal charts that's going to be going on with us. It's not really hidden, it's just being able to. I see energies when I look at charts. That's why a lot of times it's like, yes, I can look up the degrees and know what the degrees for like these names are. But for me, it's more of like, I'm seeing energies like at play with each other here. One thing for me is just remembering like orbs and different things like that because sometimes I kind of make my own decisions with those because it seems like it has a lot of effect. And sometimes I'll like think, okay, that definitely belongs in that energy. But I woke up and I was being weird. Oh my gosh. Okay, Owen, that is that's great. Oh, you guys, 2:15, 2:17 in the morning. You gotta scroll a little bit to get down to that one. Okay, so let's check this out. Well, hello there. Gloria has a yod. So we're going to be able to look at some yod energy here. So let's see, where do we want to start? I'm going to start with the earlier house here because obviously it started having more effect between these energies first. With your Pluto and your Chiron, having those in conjunct in the first place just on themselves is basically a lot of deep-seated healing. Like, it's pretty much like a transformation that just wants to keep happening. But, oh no, am I cutting out? Am I still here? I'm not going to keep going without you if you can't hear me. Okay, you're okay? Wanted to make sure before. It's okay, you're joining like Ruby. I'm gonna be talking about everything out loud as well as pointing. So, and plus, Owen, I'll do yours. You know what your chart looks like, so if you want to have your chart in front of you, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about while I'm like actually talking about them. I want to see the journey chart. But, let me see. Okay. It's old news. I want to see Chloe Gloss. Oh my goodness, Owen. Did you try refresh? Maybe you can just get it stuck on the picture of her chart. Oh, I need to change that because we reached 15, so I gotta update that. But yeah, once we reach 20, 25, so we need like 9 more. Once we reach or 20, what the heck is it that we need? I don't know. Anyways, we think we need like 25, I think, which means we need 9 more from what I'm remembering in order to get another emote. So I gotta put that we need 9 more subscribers or whatever for an emote. That's just confusing. But I will I will tell you everything, Owen. Okay. I can't see your business, Owen. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we'll start. Gloria has an Aquarius rising. She has a Taurus sun, and she has a Cancer moon for Owen. There you go. You got the big 3. So I'm going to talk about her yod placement like I was saying before. And having Pluto and Chiron in an inconjunct just by itself is all about constantly healing through a bunch of different, and this is at the very, very early degree of Scorpio with your Pluto. This is like create. Oh, okay. You are creating healing. This degree is actually important for this inconjunct. Like I said, sometimes I'm really pulled to different degrees. Having this creation energy on this inconjunct actually gives me, I want to see where your south node is. It's in the 9th house. Okay. and it's opposing your north, but it's also opposing your Chiron. So you have some interesting energy here. Even though your south node isn't part of this inconjunct, its energy is all over it, just because of what's connected to it. Having this Pluto at this creation degree, it's like you're having to create through various different transformations in areas of your life, because this is a bunch of 8th house energy on this. It's a lot about dealing with learning different aspects of, other people's money, secrets, as well as learning things about death. This is just like a whole lot of energy of you learning these things. And it comes very abruptly. A lot of times it comes in the form of literally being created out of thin air, having this 0 degree where it's just like, well, fuck, I know that now. And it's like, it's kind of a harsh energy. It can be, I like how I was about to say something about obsessions and Nightbot's just having the time of his life over here. But this can create a very obsessive energy on this yod, just from having it part of this inconjunct itself. It, like I said, it pushes and repels. For you, repels actually makes more sense than repels, because it's so obsessive that it can feel like North Node energy, which makes a lot of sense since your North Node is so close to this. Like I was saying, your node's energy is just rubbing off on everything with this yod energy. It's like you can't get away from it. So not only do you have the push and pull of inconjuncts with this very intense energy, you also have the actual yod forming to this intense energy and being conjunct your north and south node. And it's just creating like this really heavy thing where you're trying to balance out these energies, but at the same time you're being thrown around between them. And gosh, Owen, I freaking can't with you today with your freaking tea. Though I'm not gonna lie, that was at a good time. Pour some water for me. But this is a lot of being thrown around. Now, you're coming from this energy of always being pulled to do something different, learn something different, expand. It's kind of impulsive, and it also lends to your Saturn and Mercury being in Scorpio. It's like this heavy energy, especially with your Mars actually being retrograde. This creates introspection. So you have a lot of introspection energy, like literally, like I was saying, your yod is introspection energy. It is very heavily introspective. But then you have your Mars going retrograde at this 22 degree. I understand 22 degrees. I got that freaking ascendant that goes 22, 22, 22. If anyone's going to get some 22 energy, it's me. Having this 22 energy, even though it's known as this kill or be killed degree, I really feel what it is like the need to step up, like you need to step forward. And having your Mars in this obsessive energy being retrograde, it's like you naturally have this impulse that can be detrimental to your health of just deep diving like it's no one's business. And because it's like an obsessive desire. And the only way you can work through this is by building something different, because having 22 is also 22 for energy. So if you want to look at it in this retrospect, your whole thing is just making me like, let's do some inwardness over here. Might as well have the Hermit card chilling with us right now, which ironically, probably not ironically, you have intercepted Virgo energy. The freaking Hermit's represented by the Virgo. So this this energy, like I was saying, this, as I was being thrown off by realizing I was making fun of something and it's actually in your chart. This right here is you trying to learn from the twos. That intuition, which is very heavy in your chart, having your Cancer moon, having these creative Scorpio placements. 12 degrees is a very beneficial number. It is also that of creation, but it's not of creation from the void. It is creation from what you make, because it's the masculine and feminine energy combining to that 3 energy, and you have that on your Saturn, which once again, it's like you are creating from these lessons with these different, and it's almost making me feel, even though, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this. It's because your Pisces is intercepted. Every time I'm feeling like something's off, it's probably something to do with your interception. This was making me think more Pisces energy happening, because it's almost like you having to break structures and create structures in order to work around this obsessive energy. And it's almost like if you get lost in it, it becomes an addiction that can easily spiral. Now, obviously, this can be very extreme or very small, but just because of it being in Saturn energy, Pluto energy, part of a YOD, healing, just... And I haven't even talked about your other inconjunct that has your Neptune pointing to the YOD as well. So we're just gonna we're staying where we are right now. But it's really important to use this Mars energy to your advantage. Like, with it being in Scorpio, use it to pull from the depths instead of sinking. Like, how can I put this? It's not like a rock, because obviously it's this Scorpio energy, but it's like just being pulled. It's almost like by tentacles just being pulled down and being held there. It's like you need to use this burst of energy that happens, especially since, I mean, it's opposing this sun energy you have here. So when things are kind of illuminated, I'm telling you, your 3rd house is kind of having a ball over here. Your 3rd and 9th houses are having a ball. But this energy is trying to make you understand that when you get those bursts of energy, those moments of inspiration, that you need to go with it, but don't get stuck. You need to use your intuition and understand it and pull things up in order to build something from it. And that's like that 22 energy. It's like the master builder, the master solver kind of energy. But the reason it's that mastery energy is because it's coming from a spiritual place with the 22. It's not the regular 4 where it's like, you know, building those foundations, making the sound structures, the protection, all of that. It's like all that's included, but it has intuition with it. It's like it has the guidance with it. You got to go with it. And that's why it can be very unpredictable, because 4 is Uranus energy. And what you have going on is Uranus sitting in Sagittarius in your 10th house. So it's like, hey, the way this is going to work is we're just going to pull it straight out into the workplace. Like, this is how you leave your mark here, by literally learning all this 12th house shit, which you came here knowing quite a bit of it, because what you're trying to put out is what you came here understanding, because it's in Sagittarius also. But you're having to use Scorpio energy to pull yourself from, like, whatever you learned, possibly past life things have stuck with you. Once you are able to pull, like, all this off, basically, you're going to be able to really open up a lot that's been blocked off. But it's freaking having Neptune mixed in with that Chiron. It's like so much, especially since it's one energy. This is like very pushy energy on top of this. So this one's almost doing the polar opposite of your other inconjunct. where it's like a huge pull towards this with your Pluto energy, but with your Neptune energy, it's like a huge push. Like, and it's like they're actually doing the energies separately, which is really interesting. There's not a back and forth. It's like they really want to shove in one direction, but they're doing the opposite thing on your Chiron. This is really trying to push learning compassion from your healing through your experiences. This is being able to talk among friends, communities, find your people by doing this. It's also being able to understand how to bring the blessings to yourself as well, because this is carrying all this work energy. It's like being able to put the work into these energies is what brings you this. As compared to Jess's chart, I kind of feel like yours has more masculine energy to it, because of how your Jupiter is saying to go towards things, especially with how you kind of have to be aggressive with the way you hold on to what you do internally, because obviously having that easy slip where having the beneficial 12 degree, having the 22 degree, having the 0 degree, it's like having all this energy in Scorpio is big at play here, especially since it's sextiling your Jupiter in the, like I have mine in the 12th degree. It's the beautiful, what's that freaking, it's like more than an exalted degree. It's some kind of divine degree or something. I can't remember it. There's a name for it. Like I said, I don't remember names of things. I just go with energy. But it's like, it's your blessings are tied with you understanding this, but it's going to take work. You have Capricorn telling you need to do work for Jupiter, and it's going to help you. And since this is part like containing your inconjunct in there, it's like you got to work at this. It's not going to come naturally to you to have the compassion. It's like you're working through that energy to understand it, which is why it's a push. It's like you're having to push yourself to do these things. But as you do it, you randomly get wishes granted, which is like that other, it's like that star energy. It's like the wish fulfillment and everything. It's pretty much what Jupiter does for you whenever you actually like really go with this and understand it, and you're like really in the zone with this. It's like you get like a boon that kind of like, I mean, it feels like it comes out of nowhere, but you worked your ass off for it. This, like I said, this is very interesting, but yeah, your inconjuncts are like squishing all this energy between them that is just making everything go haywire over here. I mean, there's a few things going on with learning that self-value and things like that, but it literally comes directly from balancing out what this energy is trying to make you do. It's just a whole lot of balance back and forth. But I didn't mean to joke about your interceptions when when I'm like looking at the energy and I'm like, you just need all this, where's this? And then I'm like, oh, it's not over there. So that's why it's being jam-packed into you need to do this as opposed to just having the energy. They just completely removed it because it's like, no, this is what you're doing. It's like, we're not even focusing on that. That's not even the level we're focusing on here. Especially when it comes to relationships, they're like, no, that's not where this is going. We're not sharing that energy with this. This is going towards this. Like, it's very important. So it's like just taken away, like, nope. And it's almost like, because you are almost like detaching from the need to really care about what people think as well during this time, because all these aspects you have going to your ascendant is literally like the challenge with being able to express and communicate yourself or heal through what people see of you. So it's actually more beneficial to do the inner work and just be like, fuck what everyone else thinks. It's like what I create and what I'm doing is what the important thing is, and it's like being in that energy. Oh yeah, plus you have these creepers coming up. By the time this Mercury moves into Aquarius, you're gonna have a stellium in your 12th house. That should be interesting. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that, since, I mean, there's still a whole lot more in your chart, obviously. There's a lot jumping around in there, but that's just like that energy you have is very strong with that yod point. Even though it's like, okay, it's pointing to this thing, and my chart seems to look like it's doing this thing where it's kind of like trying to go over here, even though it's pointing in this direction. It's like, it's funny because I feel like your chart's misleading, and that's what people think about you. Is like, what you give out to people, they're like, that was very misleading from what we actually got, like what's actually in there. That's not what I picked up. So it's almost like your chart has that personality as well. I honestly feel people's like personality is on their chart. I mean, hell, you look at mine and it's like all over the fucking place. Yeah, there's my personality. It's like, I really feel like when you look at it in that way, you can see the personality of people. And like I was seeing with Jessica, like, I would need to look back at it to see what I felt again by looking at it. But it's like when it's right in front of me, I just kind of like get like this like little funny story. I think that's why I laugh sometimes when I'm doing readings, is because I get like these funny like little jokes, which I've been told not to joke about things because my jokes happen. And it's like when I'm in a happier place, I tend to, I don't know, it comes like it flows out a lot easier. It's very strange, but that's also what I'm supposed to be learning with having that Leo stuff. It's like being in that joyful kid energy is exactly what helps me. So, who was next? I don't know who was next after. I think Rajan was. Cause where do I have you? Okay. I knew I had you in here. Boom. So, Rajan has an inconjunct in her chart. I swear, this 12th house is never... Oh, you're welcome, Gloria. This 12th house is never going to leave you alone, Rajan. Like, okay. Oh my goodness. It's no wonder these transits have been so rude to you this entire time. This 12th house energy isn't meant to leave you alone. It's actually meant to annoy the shit out of you for like your life. Because as it annoys the shit out of you, you get blessings. That your chart's as cheeky as your guides are. Oh my god, and I'm hearing the one song, the Rise Up song is playing in my mind, and I'm like looking at the chart and like Rise Up is happening here. Okay, guys. I'm telling you, I can see why Rajan, every time I read her tarot cards, is literally saying the blessings will happen when she learns to do this certain thing. And a lot of it has to do with going with the flow and having this huge 12th house means that usually she has something floating around in there if there's anything happening in Aries and Taurus. And then plus she has her Pisces intercepted. So it's like it's making up for that energy by encompassing all this stuff. So she's obviously been having, which I suck at, she's obviously been having a year, guys, because Mars has been in Aries for freaking ever. So she's been having that going on, going back and forth with her stuff. She natally has Mercury there, which means her impulse with communication sometimes isn't that palatable, but it's almost like very weird energy to feel, because it's not like she only has it in 12th house energy. She doesn't only have it sitting in there where unexpected shit flies out of her mouth and she doesn't know where to go from there. But it's like it also unexpected messages and learning that channeling energy, because a lot of times what's flying out of your mouth is a message. And that's literally coming from this spiritual Jupiter energy that is hiding in an interception in your 5th house, thinking it is this little prankster. Mercury is the, like with Gemini, it's that prankster energy. It also rules Virgo, which is intercepted, holding this Jupiter over here that I feel is also having this prankster energy. You have a chart that likes to fuck with you, much like the way the cards fuck with you. Yeah, yeah, this is your chart, Rajan. But it's like, wait, this is starting to sound very familiar. Are you on my chart? But you have a prankster chart, which, I mean, obviously is pretty much the prank of, once, like it says in the cards, once you can surrender, the blessings will flow. It's literally a, I don't even know how to put it. It's like, this is a chart that if you looked at it, that's where the saying originated from, but then it became a meme. And it's like so annoying that when you it's like when you originally were not the meme, you don't know how to take the meme after, is pretty much this energy. Like you have like a living meme in your chart. And that obviously is very irritating because you have it in Aries and Virgo energy, which is very impulsive but also extremely meticulous and health orientated. And things have been happening to your health, hun, that are very freaking weird. And literally, you say things out of impulse, and then, ta-da! What's happened to you last year happens. When you impulsively say things, you are instantly blessed by the tricksters. This is energy you need to remember. It's kind of like how I joke about things and they happen, or I'm joking and it's scarily on point and I don't even know it. You pretty much need to realize things that come out of your mouth have that same effect, but you do it to yourself. And it's very like, that's why it was like down to what you said. It was like an instant detail happened. Like, because when you're aligned with this energy, which can also be very giddy and childish, because having that really new Aries energy is kind of like that young kid energy. It's like the first sign of the zodiac is being excited to do everything. Like, I want to do everything. And having that getting mixed signals in the 12th house all the time is definitely going to make it to where this intercepted Virgo energy is just kind of like trying to figure out how to hammer down a whole lot. Especially since your North Node is sitting up there in Capricorn. It is trying to work its energy into working its ass off. Especially with 8th house matters, where I told you before, you've had a lot of 8th house shit happening, dealing with law, other money things. It's almost like your energy is to deal with this shit. But like I was saying, I feel like your chart is literally like a freaking meme energy on you, where it's like you deal with these things and see this coming down to your inconjunct point, which is your Jupiter. Your North Node is like, yeah, all that shit where you deal with things that really make no sense, like dealing with other people's bullshit, dealing with the law. You get blessed from that randomly. Just, it's like, it's annoying as shit because it's fucking tedious, but then you get blessed from it, and it's like, well, I guess all that wasn't for nothing, kind of thing happens. But you also have your South Node over here making a sextile, like, yeah, You get blessings when you take what you know and you put it out there, like coming from that, homebody Cancer energy and teaching you self-worth. Definitely can see why you were made to sit this year and try to learn that energy. Because it like forced you to be a homebody. Especially at some of the eclipses that we had, you definitely were made to sit and learn. The being the homebody, those could have been the major moments where it struck and you were made to do certain things on the dot. But yeah, you have a lot of, pretty much like the cards have been saying, surrendering to these energies, really listening when things happen, when things are impulsive, learning the speaking that comes from, gaining knowledge, expanding your mind, but through doing it like very, very tediously throughout your life. So you like feel like you can't make a mistake, though sometimes letting go is actually what's best for you. Because it's like a big thing. It can expand that energy. And your Jupiter is retrograde, which means it can be very expansive inward. And in Virgo energy, that can be very self-critical. And it's almost like that can be the negative aspect of this, is when you start really like in a way where it's like you learn things and you incorporate that into your being to a point that you're tearing yourself down, and that actually blocks the blessings out. That's when you need that impulsive energy, or possibly you get like random ass dreams that like really like try to give you a message to break and snap you out of it, because you just naturally have that connection from childhood with this energy. Even if it didn't like make sense, especially since it's in your house of children. Also, having children definitely brought a boon on this kind of blessing energy. Like literally having them brought blessings on. Also, trying to find where you're it's like right beside him, like where's your Leo house, but it contains your Chiron too. So having that inner child healing, literally being on family, like there's a lot here about having to learn family in order to heal and gain the blessings here. But by going through a lot of things that really don't make sense and allowing it to happen, because once you learn to heal this family energy, this child, like inner child energy, the like joy to the life energy, instead of like the rip myself apart inside, like being able to get out of that and learn to like inject humor into your life, because it's kind of like that laughing Buddha energy. I think that's what I'm feeling here, which is very ironic. The laughing Buddha, the one who can find humor in any situation. It's kind of like learning to live your life like that instead of being so negative. It's like you want to have the opposite effect of what this can push down on you. So it's almost like being able to look at life through that lens, because that's what it's trying to teach you, and that's how you bring the blessings in with this. It's like a very huge trust in the universe, with coming from like this past energy of knowing you can, because it's very Cancer energy. It's like having that intuition. It's that moon energy, like being at home in the emotions. It's like you come from this energy, and for some reason something happened that makes it difficult for you to remember it. Either it was suppressed, the voice was shut off to where you needed to find this again. But having this energy is like you came here with it, and it was a big part of your value, and it's a big part of learning your value back. But it's something you have to work towards, which is probably why a big thing of this is having that laughing Buddha energy, because it's like shit's gonna happen, and I just gotta find that thing that I lost because it was pushed away, because then things will click. but I think that's a huge part of it. But yeah, that's just from talking about what your inconjunct's doing, having those energies. Like I was telling you guys, like having these, just even having inconjuncts can create a whole lot of energy in a chart as well. But it's trying to figure out what it's trying to do, literally, like to make it easier on you. It's like how there's certain tarot cards about moving through situations, and some of them are a lot more abrupt, like the Tower is going to make you move through a situation and you have to accept that. Or it could be something like the Six of Swords where you logically know that you need to do this thing and you understand it and you can move away even though it's painful. But there's still healing that happens. So it's kind of like a toss-up in that. I'm just in it. Yeah. I mean, you can't... You're not going to be able to find that like level of comfort and security until you can allow yourself to do this. Because if you're just looking, because what you're basically doing is you're looking at it with Capricorn energy and never allowing yourself to sit in what your comfortable energy actually is. So it's very misinterpreted, especially having your North Node up there with everything, but it's in the 8th house. It's like you have a lot of Capricorn 9th energy, but just having that North Node over there, it's creating a whole thing over here of you trying to learn the balance between, yes, being an adult, getting things done, but also allowing your intuition to help you do that. Not like just diving into work and taking the beauty out of life. It's being able to be present and also not suppress the subconscious, which is literally what this inconjunct is doing over here. It's like flat out wanting you to listen to it. It's wanting to open your ears all the way up and just full on trust it blindly, because it's like once you understand that, you're going to keep just lining up with what's going to help you instead of being like just tucked away into a corner, like being upset with the choices that you're making and stifling yourself. You would definitely get a boon from allowing yourself to be creative with it in your 5th house. Okay, so who do I have next? I can't remember if Ruby has one or not. You want me to look at yours, Ruby, since I have the aspects on with the transits? You can see what yours looks like that. Unless Owen wants us to look at his YOD and Inconjunct and all that stuff sitting right beside each other. Oh wait, both of you are in podcast mode. Is your thing not in podcast mode yet? Oh, Mars is finally in Taurus, guys. 0 degrees. Woo! Just throw a little mini party. Mars is now out of Aries. Hopefully this will make people think before they act. Because Taurus likes to take its time. So hopefully people start thinking before they're acting and at least being a little stubborn before they do something instead of being impulsive like Aries. So we can hope. But anything you put your nose to the grindstone for right now and really try to create from it, and that's where you put your drive, is definitely going to have like a big blessing on it. Purely because, I mean, this aspect is that of money. I mean, we can look at it that way. If something's in Taurus and you're having a drive towards something, is to create that kind of security. But it's also really enjoying the senses and the things around you. So that is going to be a lot different than Aries energy. Buddy. Oh my goodness. You make me click something all kinds of random over here. Oh my god, Owen. Okay, the next emote we're getting is the LOL one. Like, we have to have that laughing one because that stuff happens too much here. Okay, Ruby. Okay, so with your aspects turned on, you legit have even more shit pointing over there. If it was possible. It is managing to point over there like it's no one's business right now. Oh my goodness. But I'm not gonna lie, I find this so ironic that the only thing trying to get away from where everything else is pointing in your chart is your North Node. Literally everything. Like, there's not one thing trying to come near your North Node. The only thing touching it is your Venus, and it's like, I don't really know what to do with it because I'm in the 12th house. But, you know, I want to be friends with it, you know, I should be. At least the Venus of the group wants to be the friend with the only one over there. It's like, you can't sit with us energy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Like I was saying, the personalities are starting to pop out now in your guys' charts because we have everything literally sitting up here and having an aspect, which is hilarious. Also, what is interesting is everything has an aspect except your South Node. So in the way your North Node is like, I honestly don't give a shit, and Venus is like, seriously, like, don't have your feelings hurt. Your South Node's over here, fuck all you bitches. Which is such Leo energy. It's like, fuck you, I'm a queen. I demand respect. Oh my god, your shit is so funny. See, having the ass, like, having all the aspects up literally shows a lot of personality when you look at stuff. And it's almost like you can see what everything's trying to do. I mean, everything's even having their own group together. There's like a clique of at least 2 or 3 friends everywhere. And then her North and South Node are like, just like, what the fuck? Like, over here. I mean, even though you don't have an inconjunct or a YOD, Ruby, your North Node and your South Node are looking at this like, oh, what the hell are we supposed to do here? Because literally everything is trying to ignore them except the planet that feels bad for it, which is your Venus Libra, which is a softie and is like, please don't feel bad. I mean, I understand you, Aquarius. I know you have nothing in Gemini, so nothing else understands you, but I understand you. And your Mercury's like, fuck that. But, oh my goodness. This personality actually makes a lot more sense. I feel like this is the deeper personality of you. Because it's almost like at first glance, you really have all of this earth shit happening, right? But it's more like you're kind of in this misplaced fire and air energy, and you're just kind of like, how do I work this? Because I feel really pulled to do this thing that makes no sense at all over here. And everything's telling me no. Like, literally. Oh my god. Real hot earth shit. Oh my god. Just have a whole line of astrology shit. Like, real hot Aries shit. Like, just like a whole line of that going. That'd be great. Just have everybody. Because we know we gotta have that real hot shit. So, all I gotta say is yours has a really funny imprint, Ruby. It's like you came here having this queen energy, and you're trying to learn this I will give it to the people energy, but what you have is I'm going to work myself into the ground and talk about it while I'm doing it energy. It's like, it's no, it's like nowhere near what anything is trying to do with stuff you came in here understanding that's supposed to help you with your career and things that are supposed to help you like understand more of yourself on a soul level. It's like all of these things, and plus it's flipped, having that soul and that career kind of energy flipped around. So it's like really diving in and learning all that stuff and bringing it out. But it's like you literally, it's like no one understands me. Is literally what is happening here. Because literally what everyone sees is not what you are trying to express, and I think that was one of the card pick-up piles you picked for that day. Good evening, madame. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's like a lot of those card readings you've been getting that have just been telling you to do these things. I mean, Aquarius is the unexpected. Like, you gotta do... I mean, look at all the shit traversing into your freaking Aquarius energy. It's like, hello, like, walking over there right now. You're definitely gonna start learning about this Aquarius energy that is the only thing in your chart that's trying to run away from this over here. This is gonna feel really weird for you, huh? Whew. But hey, it'll be a good weird. This is like, let your freak flag fly. Just have a good time with it. Because the more creative you are and the more you let loose, the more this is going to benefit you. Pretty much like every reading you've been choosing has been saying. I mean, that's where your blessings are going to start coming. Oh my god. See, Owen gets it. It's like all the music that, okay, and it's Ruby's chart. Literally all the music that will not stop flowing into my head. And we're reading Miss Music Lady's chart over here. So, I mean, your communications in Libra, it's gonna sound beautiful. You're gonna talk with, like, a really, like, when you don't think about it, you actually talk more freely and more liberally, and you allow yourself to express yourself in a more beautiful way than when you overthink it. And that's something that is really going to help you, even though it's difficult for you. Literally, all of your freaking squares are pointing at it. So it's very difficult for you to learn to let that go, because everything that comes easy to you is literally sitting in earth energy and picking things apart and driving yourself crazy. Like, that's what comes naturally to you. Which is why Aquarius is over here like, we are going to detach from this shit. We are going to learn how to not do this. It's just like a huge lesson over here. I'm telling you, that's why this is so hard. Like, your expression, what you're creating, your blessings and everything, like, all this stuff is coming from you learning, and it's really going to start picking up once that North Node, well, actually, where is that freaking thing? Is it sitting? It's sitting right on the little bitty nudge of your 8th house there. It's, like, barely sitting there. So I guess it must just scoot over or something, like probably earlier, like a few weeks ago or something. It probably just scooched a teeny bit, and now it's in your 8th house. I know, Ruby, like your chart's pretty much pulling you to unlearn a lot of things that came very easy to you early in life, and what you feel belongs in your friendships is pretty much like, this was very easy for you to put this out there. Especially having Libra ascendant, it was really easy for you to put up a mask and let this energy take over, even though that's not the energy you're trying to work with here. It's not the energy you come from, and it's not the energy you're trying to go towards. You kind of came here probably something I feel might have happened that really smacked you down in one of the energies you were in, especially coming from a place of probably being pompous. This could have been something that was made easy for you to really like dive in and see everything going on with you this life and be more of a skeptic, probably because you were some kind of performer, because it comes naturally to you in one of your past lives, and that energy coming in, maybe it didn't work out, and that's why you're so pessimistic about it. Because there's a lot of healing that needs to happen in your 9th house, so it's like on this spiritual level, like needing to learn more, and a lot of this is just unlearning these patterns that aren't allowing you to express yourself. And Nightbot's having a ball again. But yeah, you, with this, it's literally like you can flip back and forth between very funny and very serious just because you're trying to learn this. Always trying to outdo me. But, yeah, that's why this year when all these transits were like, you know, doing their thing, they're still doing their thing over here, by the way. With this Taurus over here, you actually have an inconjunct transiting right now, Ruby. Because Taurus is currently 6 degrees. And like I was telling you guys, how you can spot inconjuncts when you have something that, say, would be opposing in one sign. Like, you know, Aries opposes Libra. If you go to the sign that was, wait, was it before it? It was before it, right? Yeah, you go to the sign before it. Wait, did I get it backwards? Yeah, it's the sign before it. So you go to the sign before it. Like, I was looking at the Uranus and I was like, wait a second, there's something over there. I will get to that. But the inconjunct right now is happening between your Neptune and your Venus, going from your 12th to your 5th house. Now, with this inconjunct, it's pretty much like, I think Neptune, if I'm remembering right, is at yeah, it's 18 degrees. So it's like right on the edge of it. It's been in there, especially when it was retrograde. That's where a lot of, especially since it's 12th house energy, you were really learning how to create from 12th house energy, which is what you're supposed to do. Like this past year with this Neptune in Pisces has been trying to teach you what it feels like to be in your element, what it feels like to start just creating. And that's why for the latter part of last year, it started feeling very weird. Like you had a pull to it and then you had a repulsion from it. Because as you were creating, you were doing it from a place that didn't feel comfortable. It wasn't something you usually do because you were just letting it go and letting it happen. And then you would come back after and be like, should I really have done that? And this was very tricky for you. It opened up a lot of things for you. It opened up more understanding of why it was hard for you to create. It also allowed you to bring some love and compassion, because having both the Pisces energy, Neptune and Venus and Libra, like having those energies mixing is really learning compassion and understanding and trying to bring love into different situations you weren't before, which definitely could have been you trying to understand this Aquarius energy, because having that trine in your natal chart is almost like Venus welcomes this Aquarius energy. It's what's going to really help you. Your ascendant, which is what you put out to the world, welcomes this energy as well, I'm noticing. This is going to be very interesting because what you are experiencing and putting out and doing, what you've been learning with this Pisces, is now going to be what you are putting out. Like it's that energy you needed to learn with that North Node. So you're actually learning to put that as what you're putting into the world instead of that projection from the Earth energy. You're actually learning to pull that energy. These transits actually aspected to create the perfect atmosphere for, like, you know, an inconjunct, which has a whole lot of energy on it, to actually pull out what you needed to learn for your creativity. Whereas before it was really bogged down. Who's still here? Sometimes the internet cuts out too. Like it'll go wonky and stuff and then it'll show up. I've been noticing that too. Facebook went psycho last night. I don't know what's going on with stuff. But there were some things that were perfect live and some things that went psycho live. And I was just like, okay then. But, yeah, definitely. Oh, that's one thing I understand about daily routines, though, because my sixth house is actually ruled by Sagittarius, which is literally the sign that wants expansion, movement, obviously not routine. So, what is interesting with that I've noticed, when the sixth house, even if you don't personally have planets in it, or maybe you have like a different sign, like possibly like Aries planets inside of it, it has a little bit of a different effect because the way routine works for you is just different. It doesn't necessarily have logic to it like air would have, or it doesn't have like the introspection or the stability that comes with like that earth energy, which is its natural kind of energy. And the fire can kind of have the same effect. It can make it a little, like I said, mine Sagittarius. It can have that same effect as water, which it makes it a little unexpected with how things go. Like with the water, it's more of allow flow to happen. With fire, it's more of expect change to happen. So it kind of goes on the extremes of what routine is. With you having water, it's more like your routine needs to just calmly like go along, especially with this dreamy. Yeah, your air, Owen, is definitely something else. Because you have so much pull to your first house. Like, you. Anything that attaches itself to that first house is going to be all out on you. But what's really interesting, I mean, I find all astrology, I know I keep saying that. I think that's something, because you know how everyone has that thing that they say, and I was wondering what mine is, and I really feel like it's interesting because literally I'm doing things that I find interesting. So it's like I don't realize that I'm saying it, and I just realized it just now. Um, can you tell that Mars has gone conjunct my Mercury yet? Oh my god, it's conjunct Mercury and it's conjunct Uranus in my chart right now. So let's have some unexpected revelations with my mind randomly. Um, but this energy really, and I've noticed that you're doing it because you're starting your own stuff. Like you started your own music thing. You've been really allowing yourself to open up more. Like you really used this Pisces transit that created this uncomfortable energy that was trying to make you understand how to like move forward instead of being so held back, make you more at home in your 12th house energy. You use this transit to understand this, and now that's what you can put out. Like without really, you still will worry about it having so much earth, but you're going to be able to have less tension when trying to express it, and it's going to be more healing for you. It's going to be easier for you to bring out into what you're putting out as your career. And especially since this is something naturally that you possibly did as a career before, so it really wouldn't surprise me. Oh my gosh. But yeah, let's check out Owen's chart since he got some interesting things over there. I thought I was doing a you'll be able to see in a set. I thought I was doing a tarot reading for you. Are we doing a chart reading or a tarot reading? I can't remember now. You got me confused. Okay, so we're looking at your chart. This is a learning day, Owen, and you have very good things to learn from. Because you got this happening over here. This is great for YOD Day. So we're going to end YOD Day with Owen's chart. So as you can see, Owen has a YOD. He has an inconjunct right beside his YOD, and then he has another inconjunct. So he has a whole bunch of these energies sitting in his chart. He also has very polarizing things in his chart. I love how I'm starting to see things differently right now. I think I might actually enjoy this conjunction while it's in Mars doing this transit with my stuff, because I'm starting to see things a little differently. I feel like you have this weird push-pull because you have like this box really trying to be like, I want to break free, but it's hard. Let me break free because there's all these damn triangles in here, and I just want to break out of the box. I don't want to be stuck in the triangles. I feel like the triangles happen all the damn time. It's like the triangles come so easy they bore you, and your boxes are screaming that, like, we we want to use. This is pretty much what's happening for you. This is just natally. This isn't transits. There's no transits sitting on this. So you can imagine what's going to be happening to you this year. You natally have this energy where you're constantly trying to break out of a boring box. Of course, a lot of shit happened that made you want to break out of this box, because sometimes it wasn't boring, sometimes it was downright repulsive, because you actually have your YOD and your Inconjunct mixing into this energy and pointing in this way like, hey, some shit happened on early. Because I kind of look at YOD energy also that, it's going to kind of point to when a lot of this energy that you're going to be carrying was formed that you need to use later to help you with other aspects. Like, this needed to happen and this energy is going to stay throughout your life. So I find those kind of movements very interesting as well. And since you have yours so early on, there was some things that happened, especially dark shit, because you got, I know the dark, but this is literally like creating things that were not okay, happened to you early on. Because having this Pluto Sagittarius thing, there's a lot here about beliefs and just things that are far beyond a lot of comprehension, because even though it's expanding the mind and learning, if like having this kind of energy happening so young, especially dealing with some very intuitive energy, having this kind of new moon Gemini energy over there, and having another inconjunct going to it, this was really hard. And just because you had so many different air trines happening with other energies in your chart, it didn't make it that much easier, because you still had a lot of oppositions between trying to mend these things, and it came a lot from different relationships. And like I was telling you, an especially strong mother bond, because it's the mother bond that's part of this box, like you trying to break away from what necessarily seemed to be very easy. Your South Node even carries some of this, because it's in your 12th house, it's in Aries, but this 12th energy it's almost like you come from a place where you have had to understand things on your own. You had to learn to work through certain things, create foundations by yourself. And it's like, by having this energy coming in now, you're trying to truly learn freedom from this kind of feeling. You're trying to bring what you know, even though some of it might come off like you don't understand what the hell's happening most of the time, because it can be very impatient or it can be very brash. Warrior-like, in a sense, like maybe in a past time you were a Spartan, but but this energy is trying to help you break out of it, because it brings blessings when you understand certain things that come from this. But at the same time, it's creating a sextile to your Venus. So once again, we're going back to relationships. This is probably why you have so much relationship karma in your life with a lot of different people. Through oh my gosh. So with your Venus being the inconjunct your Jupiter, which is what you have right here, going up here, it's still in your 9th house, so it's making this expansive energy come down and be thrown into relationships And that is what people see you as, is the relationship, which is very strange. Let me put it this way, because I know that can sound very strange, but there is a way I am seeing this, and it actually goes with you trying to break the box so hard. It is so easy for you to be labeled, and people want to label you. And that is very frustrating, because even though some of the levels are... God, my throat's going crazy right now talking about this. Even though some of these things could be beneficial and they help you when they're placing these labels, you don't like being stuck with it. And it's something that also could have made you a fighter, coming from that energy possibly, that you really had to fight for your identity. And it's like you're pretty much coming here trying to break it. You're trying to find the way to just snap this, because it's still very easy for people to do this. Especially some people just subconsciously do it. They don't even realize they're doing it to you. And that's the part that kind of irritates you as well, because you are trying to understand how to balance out the fact, like, this is the energy you're trying to understand this lifetime. Like, how do I balance out the fact that I really need people to understand what my identity actually is instead of labeling me, but I also still need people? It's like a very weird thing you're trying to learn. And that's why it's so hard for you to bust out of this box, because it's so much easier for people to have you inside of these. The transiting Chiron is currently... I'm going to start looking at things that add to your boxes. So we're going to see what things right now are actually trying to help you bust more out of the box. The transiting Chiron is adding another layer to your boxes. Let's see. That Gemini right there, that my brain cannot form the word. That Gemini stellium, when it happens, is definitely going to be adding to your box, which is interesting, because that's going to be around the new moon, the eclipse that is also going to be a blood moon on the 26th of May. It's going to be Gemini energy. So that, along with a stellium of transiting Gemini, very dreamy energy, a slew of Gemini planets that are going to be transiting as well with this blood moon. You are going to be having a ball, because some of these are going to be creating more inconjuncts. This is where you're going to be able to start breaking up perceptions, because you natally form these inconjuncts to these degrees of Gemini. So as soon as any planet, no matter which one it is, hits any of these degrees, you're going to have an inconjunct. If anything hits 28, you're going to have a YOD. And that's anything with Gemini. So you're going to be getting a lot of breaking boundaries with this YOD energy, as well as this inconjunct energy. And it's randomly going to bring you some blessings, especially dealing with things you're trying to understand and break through with your spiritual energy. Like I've told you, you having Aquarius, like, go conjunct your Uranus energy right now is bringing a lot of unexpected benefits to this house, especially since your Jupiter is in this house as well. It's like you have double Jupiter energy. Which is very interesting. But all of your... Libra stuff as it transits, like even like the moon right now is adding to you trying to break out of these squares as well. It's like there's just what your chart's trying to do is break away from the norm, which is way too easy with all these trines, because of course it's going to create more grand air trines, but at the same time what it's creating with the power of the YODS and the inconjuncts like throughout the year is definitely going to have an effect, and it's going to be very beneficial for you. So that way you can actually create your identity and really like make it solid, especially when things really start transiting into Taurus. It's like you're going to understand it more, because even though your rising is Taurus, you kind of lack it, to be honest with you. It's like it's like you have it ruling the first house, but you have Gemini just taking the fuck over everything. So, especially even the inconjuncts in the yod point. So it's almost like that in a way cancels it out, plus most of it's in the 12th house. So it's like you're at this late stage of understanding Taurus. So it's like, you can use it if you really need to, but you're more of a breaking free energy and trying to not have a label this lifetime, but also have your people. And I think that's why this year is going to be so important for you finding your group, because there's a lot of energy leading to you finding that with how all this is placed. But yeah, it's very interesting, Owen. I want to ask you guys though, for those of you that have been either getting personal readings, watching like pick-a cards and different stuff like that, do you feel like your charts line up with things you've been picking with your intuition? Yeah, I was just wondering if anyone else was. Because I've watched a couple and I'm just sitting here like, I feel like I'm being called out by everything around me. Why would you think that sounds weird? I've picked up on people having like panic attacks while I was live. Like, I'm not going to be sitting here saying you can't pick up on vibrations. Like, it's literally energy. And I understand twos. Remember, like, two girl over here. If you want to talk about two energy, I'm right here. Um, but if you do that, oh, and it'd be an interesting exercise to close your eyes and see what comes through as images and stuff as well. Because I do that also. Because I can get, like, the pictures of numbers and different things when I close my eyes. It's an interesting exercise. Dude, I used to get shocked by shit all the time. Like, it still happens, but at one point in my life, it was just ridiculous how much I was getting shocked by shit, and I did not understand why it kept happening. But it's like, it still happens randomly, but not near as much. And I mean, like, either like the pop thing or literally being like shocked by a socket or something. Like, there's always been this element of getting shocked somehow. I don't know if I'm supposed to be paying attention to why those happen. Yeah. I can see that with, like, I really like the people that I go to, and it's like talking to them, just hearing some of the stuff, it makes me feel so bad. You know, I really need to fix that Nightbot thing, because that's just kind of annoying. With it just keeps saying that. Like, can stop. It's okay, guys. Now, when I have thoughts, I want to act on them because Mars is. Because Mars is conjunct. It's just like, fucking do it. Why not? um, let's see. We need more. Okay. There we go. Okay. I changed it. You just... See, that's good. That's something that you can look at with Taurus energy too, is it's like, for me, I start to feel more comfortable. I mean, my Venus is in Taurus, which I have a lot of things where they say it's in exalted signs in my chart. But, like, again, I like to break down certain things to the energy thing, and I can see why, like, oh, that would be beneficial to actually have it because of this energy, instead of just saying to somebody, oh, it's exalted, it's very good, like, kind of thing. Like, let's talk about the energy of it, because let's see if Owen has anything that's exalted here. Let me see. I mean, you got a lot of stuff in Gemini, so I gotta look at other things. You're like, pretty sure it's my Saturn. It's one of those things. But, but I don't think it's Aries though. Yeah, it's the opposite. You have it opposite Owen. Saturn's actually exalted in Libra. But the way I can actually use your Saturn as a reason for explaining energies though. So the reason they say Saturn is exalted in Libra, let's look at what Saturn energy is, right? Jupiter's exalted in Cancer. My Jupiter is in Cancer. And Taurus, Venus is exalted in Taurus, and I have that. I have a lot of planets in their home signs that they rule. There's just a lot of that in my chart. Oh, sorry, I was yawning. Mars is exalted when it's in Capricorn. It's like you're pretty much, it's different with the energies there. I know that's really strange, but you have to realize signs and planets do have different things that they do. and they do have different energies, even though we combine them a lot to talk about them. When you break them down, yeah, Venus is shared with Taurus, but it's more exalted in the sign, because when you think of Venus, she's really about the pleasures, the senses, and all of these things, which is why it's so exalted in Taurus, because you are in love with what is here, even though it is the balancing and the harmonizing with Libra, which is also beauty. It's not really that physical beauty. It's like that comfort kind of thing, which is why it's exalted. It's like it makes something come extremely easy. So, like, say we're thinking about like Jupiter and Cancer, it's like pretty much trying to teach us how we can bring the blessings into our life, how we can work through these lessons in ways that really benefit us, how we learn. When it's in Cancer, it's in a natural energy where you learn through listening to intuition. You understand things by wanting to heal. It's like being a natural healer, and the more you give that, it's almost like it really brings in the blessings, which naturally when people think of manifesting, a lot of people manifest with the moon. It's like another way you can look at how things kind of go with the energies. But it's also because there can be a lot of detriments as well, if like, because I feel like everything can go either way, which is why I feel like the exalted and detriment energy shouldn't have labels, much like how your chart's like fuck labels. It's like anything can be exalted or detriment if you look at it a certain way. It's really using it. Because like you said, Owen, you feel like Mars in, Aries, Saturn was exalted. And, well, let's put that energy into play here. Like, let's look at Saturn. It's all these rules, restrictions, dealings with time, just, those different kinds of energy, right? And then you have Aries, the first energy, like just ready to bound, full of forward movement, being very passionate, just like blasting out the gate, like seriously. And in some ways, yes, this can be very beneficial when you're dealing with these kind of things. If karmic situations happen that require split decisions to where you like literally have to make up your mind and do something, it's like it's very good for like not waiting. It's interesting because you kind of come from this energy of not waiting. So to you, if you look at someone's chart, it actually can tell you some different energy, because you having this south node energy in this like subconscious house, like you come from this energy as well. It's kind of built into your subconscious. So when you're dealing with things, when you're dealing with restrictions, especially when it comes to being able to do any kind of healing through creativity, because it feels really repressed and restricted, it almost creates this energy of I will push through this because I'm a warrior. I already know how to be a warrior. I know how to fight for what I want to fight for. And I'm willing to do what's needed to bring the balance, because you're going to have more of an air quality, like how Gemini has the air quality. So be more almost Libran in the way that Venus is working for you, with especially having that inconjunct over there to Jupiter. It's bringing right back to your blessing area. But having this energy, it's really helping you learn how to pretty much bulldoze through these things that are trying to keep you in the box, because to be honest with you, it would be so easy for you to stay there. But what's working for you is having so much in Gemini that even though it's so easy to stay there, you're like, I don't want to fucking stay here. I really don't. Like, there's enough of that in your chart to be like, I just don't. I want to break the box. Which is probably because you come from being in the box, like literally. And It's like you're learning this lifetime. You might be balancing things out literally, since your North Node is heading into this balanced energy. It could be literally the scales evening out this lifetime with you finally being able to live without the label. And that's where everything just comes in. Because there's a lot of working through that energy. There's a lot of subconscious energy. But yeah, that's kind of what's pulling it. That's what I mean by exalted and detriment. Because obviously, like, say we have the Saturn Aries doing something else in the chart, like possibly we can say we have the Aries Saturn chilling with a Aries Mars and it's like let's just say it's in your 6th house. Like you have an Aries 6th house and you just happen to have both of those conjuncts sitting in there too. Your routine, holy shit. Like, you gotta learn to work with that energy, because it's like, whew, it would be like a go, go, go energy, and that being routine, it can be so masculine. It would have to be evened out somewhere with having like heavy feminine traits, just having that, just that. Like, you need something to balance it out, and more than likely that shit's gonna be happening in the 12th house, with just things, just having a little divine hand in there. Let's throw that in there. That's how that gets slowed down. Like, that's why I'm saying you need to kind of look around to what it's doing. But yeah, unless you guys have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I know Owen's excited for his reading, and then I have some readings after that I need to get done as well. So, I have a question. Alyssa said in one of her that Gemini and Sag aren't masculine or feminine, they're something else, but she never elaborated on that. Okay, so so looking at Gemini and Sagittarius energy, let's look at it this way. It's more ideas and ideals. It is something that, I mean, think of it this way. Like, Gemini is literally communication. It's not like it's representing something that is, like, it says the twins, but even that is, you know, not really matching up here. And then you have the mythical creature over here with Sagittarius. Like, we don't even know what's going on with Capricorn. It's doing its own freaking thing with the goat with the mermaid tail that I don't even know where that was in mythology. But like, moving on to the other things, with this Gemini masculine thing, it's because of basically this being this kind of up in the air energy, if that makes sense. Because even though Virgo is still ruled by Mercury and it's seeming very feminine, I mean, it represents the maiden, it's still grounded energy. It has earth energy to it. But that's one way to look at it. But with this Gemini energy, like, if you look at all the names given to Gemini, it's like the trickster. Trickster doesn't really have a gender. The twins, okay, that doesn't really have a gender. Communication is literally communication. Like, if non-binary was going to be anything, it would be Gemini. Just because it is, like, so much stuff. Sagittarius is wanting to expand beyond so much stuff. So it's like, how do you put it's like I'm saying, you're over here screaming, I don't want a label. It's like you can't stick something on them. They do so many things that it's like you try to put a label on it and it doesn't make sense. But that's also why they're so polarizing. It's like needing to balance those energies out so something makes sense. So that's kind of where that's coming from right there. But obviously you can see how Venus would be very feminine energy going with Libra and Taurus. Having warrior, I can't talk, warrior energy is very masculine and pushy. And that's going to have that masculine energy. Pisces is very go with the flow. Cancer is about being receptive. Like, that's even more feminine energy. Capricorn can be very push, but needs to learn not to shove. And as you can see, it's adaptable. That's why people cannot decide if the freaking thing is masculine or feminine energy and they fight over it. I mean, it's a goat with a mermaid tail. They're not going to be able to decide. I mean, that to me is just funny. But it's just they can't decide on what kind of energy it is purely because of, I really feel it's because it's a weird mix of energy, so you can't really decide on it. I already said Virgo with the feminine energy. It also has the healing energy with Chiron, which is very feminine. But Leo, obviously, sun, masculine energy. Scorpio is a very strange water energy since it's not really doing this pull necessarily, like how the moon has that effect with Cancer energy. And it's not this subconscious thing. This is the darkness of feminine energy. So it has that capability, which is literally what it's known for, through transformation and pain. So, like, that's kind of what Scorpio does that gives it the feminine energy, because it has that depth and that darkness like feminine energy, like how Leo has the bright sun masculine energy. But I mean, that's just kind of how I personally look at it. I mean, Aquarius obviously is networking. It is the internet. That can be, obviously you see how fast and rapid things like that are. But at the same time, people still don't know what to think of it. Is it a water sign? Is it an air sign? Because it's a freaking water bearer, so that one goes back and forth too. So it's kind of funny how these signs that are right next to each other and that are double things, honestly, people cannot decide on unless it's two of the same thing. But, I mean, Sagittarius is a centaur at least. He's got something going on. He has some history. This other stuff everyone's kind of like just going to keep arguing about for a very long time. Dude, seriously, more outfit changes. But yeah, that's just my take on it. I'm pretty sure everyone has their take on it, like I said. Just go with how you feel about it. I'm pretty sure everyone started out that way at one point, Owen. Don't judge the journey. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. And we're gonna go and do Owen's reading, which he's not getting live. This is one that he got with me. But everybody else have a great night. I will see you on Monday. More than likely, Monday is gonna be all about this new moon, if I can remember how to say things, this Capricorn New Moon. And we are going to be discussing that, doing a little bit of the transit, because I can't remember exactly if it's Monday, Tuesday, whichever one it is. When the actual moon is, we will do the full moon not the full moon, the new moon's full chart reading for that day, whichever day it falls on. But of course, I'm going to just do like the pick of cards for it. I'll do the collective for it so we can all see where we're going with it. And if we have extra questions, we can go over those on Wednesday. So, embrace your energies. But yeah, bye everybody. And if you haven't followed me on things, follow me on things. Have a good one.